What's up, everybody? Mr. Played Out the Game here, back with a video for y'all today. And today we're gonna be reacting to a video by the Act Man saying why is Diablo 4 so bad? As y'all know, me personally, I very thoroughly enjoyed Diablo 4. I think Diablo 4 is like one of my favorite games. I have sunk in like thousands of hours into Diablo 4. I got to World Tier 4. I'm currently level 78, and yeah, so far I just been thoroughly enjoying the game. Then later on during the day, Ackman posted a video. It is why Diablo 4 is so bad, and some of the points in his video he makes are good, and some of the points he make are questionable. So we're gonna go through the video and we're gonna be picking the points apart, and some of the parts I actually agree with. So it ain't gonna be just me just disagreeing with this dude. Cause I think some of the points that he makes about the game is valid. Cause some of the points he make is the same way I feel about the game, and yeah, let's get right into it.
Because Diablo 4 started off so strong. Blizzard hooked me in. I was invested in the story, in the gameplay. But I guess I wasn't a fish worth catching. I'm just a lowly sea bass in Animal Crossing, worth only 120 bells. I guess the reason I use this analogy is because I've accepted that I'm no longer the target demographic of Diablo.
Dude, let me tell you something. Diablo caught me in with the beta, dude. I played the first Diablo beta, dude, and when I played the beta, I was already hooked. I didn't play the second beta because I completely missed it. But the first beta of Diablo 4, I already knew I was going to buy the game because, I don't know, I just got so hooked with the beta of Diablo 4. I thought Diablo 4 was a good beta.
Games. I've realized that Blizzard ain't making these games for people with my kind of interests. In truth, the tastes of modern gamers has evolved and changed, and Diablo is more profitable than it's ever been. But that doesn't necessarily mean the games are better than they've ever been, and I'll die on that cross. So yes, you read the title right. I don't like Diablo.
He is right about it though. Like, just because a game make a lot of money doesn't mean the game is good. Because there's a lot of games I can name right now that makes a lot of money, but it's just not good. I gonna name a few of those games right now. Call of Duty, every gacha game ever exists. Any game that focuses on microtransactions, still the actual gameplay. Like, just because a game makes a lot of money doesn't mean the game is good, and that point I actually agree with him on. Just because a game make a lot of money doesn't mean the game is good.
And I think it's a bad video game. That is my personal opinion. If you enjoy this game, don't let me change your mind, okay?
If there's one thing I love,
wait, hold on.
It's the sight of blood.
You know,
in Diablo 4, there are
I actually think I like this game.
Dude, I swear to God, I could look at it. I could look at this ad all day, dude. Any ad with Megan Fox in it, I swear, dude.
I'm not here to police your entertainment. You like what you like, that's fine by me, man. What I'm here to do is whine, bitch, moan, and complain into the ether like an old man. Like an ancient Haradrim who can't understand why everyone's forgotten the old ways. I really wanted to like Diablo 4, but the longer I played it, the more I came to despise it. But before we jump into hell, this video is sponsored by Rocket Money, an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. This finance app allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, build a custom budget, and grow your savings all in one place. What I love about Rocket Money
I am gonna
is it
watch
keeps
the
track
ad
of
because
all
I'm
my
in, I
recurring
am like
monthly
watching the
payments, so I
content,
don't have
so
to go to 1,000 different places to see what I'm spending all the time. It makes it very quick and easy to manage and or cancel them. I guarantee you everybody watching this is paying some kind of monthly subscription that they shouldn't be or don't need to. Rocket Money can help lower your bills, and you can monitor your spending by setting up custom budgets. No more gambling my life savings on CSGO skins, am I right, fellas? I also like to use Rocket Money to avoid—
dude, actually, I like CSGO. Honestly, I find that kind of entertaining. Some people just they sit there for hours and just watch people open up CSGO boxes. I don't know why. CSGO not loot box, but CSGO openings, case opening are just some of the most entertaining content on YouTube. Even on Twitch, dude, like it's just something about seeing people throw money at a game and just hoping they get a good skin. It's something just entertaining about that. I don't know.
Avoid paying taxes. Just kidding. I love the government. To save more and spend less, join the 3.5 million members using Rocket Money today. And your boy has got the hookup. So go to rocketmoney.com/actman or click the link in the description to get started for free. That's rocketmoney.com/actman to get started for free.
And now for something completely different.
So let's start with the positives. The combat in Diablo 4 is very fluid and fun overall. It feels good to slaughter hordes of demons with lightning bolts. Now, I didn't play much of 3, but between Diablo 1, 2, and
He correct. The combat in Diablo 4 is absolutely amazing. I think Diablo 4, when the game ain't lagging, I don't know why, but lately the game's just been lagging for me, and I just can't enjoy the combat like I used to. Hopefully they fix that in season 1, because I do not know why, but rubber banding and lag just been a huge issue for me, and it ain't even my internet. I run on Miyako internet, so I know it ain't the problem. So yeah, I don't know. I hope they get that fixed out. But Diablo 4 really do got some good combat. That I cannot deny. That what hooked me in the game in the first place, because the combat just felt so good.
4, this one might have the best enemy design in the series, or at least the most interesting. In the early game, leveling up is extremely satisfying. When I saw this big skill tree for the first time, I just thought, I can't wait to max this out. And one thing I really do appreciate is that boss fights are more about dodging attacks instead of like the classic brute force, is my number bigger than that boss's number, you know? Because it adds a much greater emphasis on skill and strategy. A lot of boss fights in D1 and D2 were battles of attrition that could get pretty tedious. Now, I played as a druid and all the abilities were cool.
Oh god, he played at the worst class ever. Act-Man, please give the game another shot. Play as another class, dude. The druid is awful. Like, dude, that literally means about the druid being the weakest class in the game. Like, dude, playing as a druid literally nerfs your experience of the game because the class is so bad.
Flashy and felt awesome to use. The game certainly fulfills the power fantasy many are looking for in a Diablo title, and I appreciate that Blizzard tried to return Diablo to its gothic horror roots instead of the fucking Disney cartoon art style they came up with for Diablo 3. So I think with the core gameplay, they've succeeded. Now before we get into the real shit, let's discuss some minor complaints. For one, Diablo 4 is a modern video game.
With all the new features that people really love and appreciate in modern games.
Which means it has to be always online just to shove half-assed MMO mechanics in a game.
Yeah, I kind of agree with this. I don't think Diablo 4, me personally, I don't think Diablo 4 has no business being an always online game. Like, you cannot tell me that Blizzard can do the same stuff that they're doing with Diablo 4 now without you having an online connection. Like, why can I not run nightmare dungeons offline? Why can I play regular dungeons offline? Why can I not explore the map offline? Like, that's crazy. Why can't I just go to my altar Lilith offline? Like, I feel like Diablo 4 can be an offline game if Blizzard really did try putting the effort. But I feel like they don't want to do that because it'd probably be more work. And I'm pretty sure they can do that because it's just no reason for Diablo to always be an online game
that basically has no social features and virtually no reason for players to interact with each other.
It's so easy to create a community.
What?
It makes Diablo more of a social experience.
And plus, be real with you. Let's be real. How many times we actually interacted with other players in Diablo 4? Like, if you're gonna play Diablo 4, you either gonna play with friends or you playing it solo. I never seen an instant in D4 where you bumped into a player and y'all decided to group up. That never happened in Diablo 4. So the grouping up is literally non-existent in the game because there's no incentive to group up except for extra EXP bonus. And it don't even matter if you ain't trying to get to 100. So there's literally no reason to group up in this game besides just grouping up for the fun of it.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Always online also means if the servers get fucked, then so do you. It's like Blizzard literally learned nothing from Diablo 3. You know, when I see someone lose their hardcore character after putting hundreds of hours into it, and they lose it because of a server issue and not a skill issue, yeah, fuck that noise. That's bullshit. At first, I thought it was pretty cool that they added a horse into this game until I unlocked the horse. I mean, it's so janky. It takes like 10 seconds to warm up its engine before it starts running. Like what the fuck? Hey, yeah.
By the way, y'all know what he doing wrong here. Look at the cursor. I ain't blaming Ackman. This is unacceptable. But I'm just saying, Ackman, if you ever decide you want to play Diablo 4 again, what you gotta do to order to make your horse to go faster, put your mouse on the edge of the screen. That's how Diablo 4 decided to do that horse. Like, you literally gotta put your mouse at the very tippy top of your screen in order to make your horse go fast. I think it's stupid. And they don't even explain that to you. They just expect you to know that right off the bat. Honestly, it's more easy to use a controller to control the horse than it is keyboard and mouse, because your cursor literally gotta be on tippity top of the screen in order to make it go fast. And it's just very, very clunky.
Hey, yeah. Come on, giddy up. Giddy up, you bastard. Okay, there he goes. Okay, now on to the real shit.
Google Fi Wireless. Get up to $1,000 back on Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra.
Diablo 4, for me, contains 2 crippling, fun-ruining flaws. Flaws so important that if changed, I would continue playing the game without question. Number 1, the difficulty. Number 2, the skills. Let's start with difficulty. So I stopped playing at level 48 after beating the campaign. Now, you can run down to the comments section and tell me what a casual scrub I am, that I need to play on World Tier 3, and how Diablo 4 starts to get fun and challenging after I beat the game and read.
Really? Cause I ain't gonna lie, I know Diablo 4 is an easy game, but there's a few bosses that actually gave me a free run for my money on World Tier 4. I mean World Tier 2. Even though most people tell you to play on World Tier 1 because you can get through the campaign faster and get to the end game immediately. But I decided to play on World Tier 2 because I actually want to have fun in the story. But anyway, World Tier 2, there were some bosses that actually gave me trouble in World Tier 2 story mode. It was like, I forgot the bosses. It was like the one, it was, the characters in Diablo 4 is so unmemorable that I can't even describe them. Hold up, let me go look them up real quick. Hold up, let's take a while. Hold up, trying to look them up real quick. Just give me a minute, y'all. Oh yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can find. I know it's a boss that gave me like a huge amount of trouble. I gotta find them. This how I can actually find it, dude. Why you showing me real bosses? I don't want to see no real bosses. I just want to see the real good boss. Dang, can't find them. Can't find them. Oh, look, that was a king boss. They had never had king in the name. Yeah, this dude gave me trouble. This dude right here, Bo the Tyrant King, gave me trouble. I'm not gonna lie, this dude with my butt a couple of times. I finally got past him, but this dude to me was no joke. Like, this dude was kind of hard. To me, he was like I had a little bit of trouble on this dude. Keep in mind, I was playing a rogue. I probably suck at the game, but this dude kicked my butt.
Reach level 50, and if you're thinking that, you've just proven my point. Why do I have to dump 30 hours into Diablo 4 simply to unlock a difficulty option that suits my skill and experience? Well,
you know, that do make a great point. Like, you should not be forced to play a difficulty that you don't want to play. He is right about this. Like, if a game ain't fun for the player right then and there, it's a bad game. Like, the early game is super important. Like, dude, if a player ain't invested into the early game, in the mid game, they ain't gonna play to the end game. Cause why? They bored. A player is not gonna play a game if they feel like they ain't getting nothing out of it. I think it's a weak excuse that people try to use that, oh, just wait 30 hours after you beat the campaign. No, like the game should be fun now. Like 30 you asking the player to wait 30 hours to give your game a chance is kind of not, it's just not acceptable. Like your game need to be fun now.
Because that's how it's always been, Act Man. Yeah, you're right. The big difference is in Diablo 1 and 2, the games weren't this easy. And D2 had some extreme difficulty spikes. The base game is so ridiculously easy that by the time I got to that climactic finale in Hell, I was bored out of my mind, begging for it to end. After an experience like that, why the
Honestly, I'm surprised it was easy for him. He playing a druid. He playing like one of the worst class in the game. They do playing one of the worst class in the game, and he's saying it was easy.
hell would I keep playing? I did end up doing the first capstone dungeon, and for whatever reason, that was like a light switch. It's like, oh my god, I'm actually dying to boss mechanics and not just cheap gimmicks like hard crowd control that lock me in place for 5 seconds. I'm not exaggerating when I say
Crowd control suck in Diablo 4. I'm just gonna say that right now. Crowd control is completely OP when it comes to enemy. Especially the little spider thing that infinitely roots you. Like, dude, the spiders suck in D4. D4 spiders suck. They, especially the red ones, they infinitely root you. You get rooted. You continually getting rooted. Like, you cannot do nothing. When you face up against the spider is like one of the most unfun enemy to fight in Diablo 4. Even these guys he's showing on stream right now, where if they knock you down and your health is like this low, you might as well say you did, because the next follow up attack is just, you just did. The problem is in Diablo 4 there is no way to get out of CC, and the CC I believe lasts way too long. Crowd control in Diablo 4 lasts way too long.
every single death I had, besides this boss, was from hard crowd control. The game had to stop me from moving in order to kill me. This capstone dungeon was like the highlight of my playthrough, likely because I was underleveled for it. So why is this game so easy? In Diablo 4, literally everything scales with your level. The cost of items and upgrades, strength of enemies, gear. It's funny because every quest has a level recommendation next to it, yet it's always the same as your level, so it's like, what's the point? This does provide some positive benefits. It makes it easy to play with friends of higher or lower levels. You don't have to worry about your buddy who's played for 600 hours, one-shotting everything and robbing you of the gameplay experience. Another nice touch is that you don't ever out-level quests, dungeons, or the main story, so you can progress these things in any order you want. However, the drawbacks to the scaling difficulty are so flagrant and obvious, I can't believe more people aren't talking about them. You understand what it actually means for the entire game to scale with the player's level in an RPG? It means that the challenge stays virtually the same from start to finish. Why is this?
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, I really don't mind level scaling. It'd probably be bad because it'd probably be a bad thing because Diablo 4 reuses the same enemy types. Like, you would not see a different enemy type. What I mean by they reuse the same enemy type, like, dude, you could be in the desert area, you still can be fighting the monster you been fighting in Kivishah, the first area of the game. So the first monster you meet in Kivishah, which is the fallen and the skeleton enemy, you will meet later on in Dry Step. That how reuse some of the enemies is in Diablo 4. The same enemy you meet in Kivishah, which is the fallen in the skeleton, you meet in Dry Step. 100%.
Is the problem? Well, it's gonna take a good long while to explain, but if the only available difficulty option is easy as balls, then you'll be begging for the sweet release of death. Now, we're gonna be comparing Diablo 4 to Diablo 1 and 2 and to World of Warcraft a lot. While WoW and D4 are different kinds of games, the core mechanics that make an RPG fun and satisfying to grind, I feel, are the same. So let's imagine if World of Warcraft was more like Diablo 4. Picture this. You just spent a bunch of time grinding levels, doing dungeons, raids, getting the best gear, becoming stronger. You go back to the starting area and guess what? That boar you fought at level 2 takes just as many hits to kill as when you're level 70. Would you feel like a badass in this situation? No, you'd feel like an asshole. Like you just got duped into wasting your time playing an RPG.
I feel like this is a effect of the open world design of Diablo 4. Because you can do any of the dungeon, you can do any of the story mission in any order you want. There's like no set order to do story missions. You can do Act 3 after you finish Act 1. Then you can go to Act 2 after you finish Act 3. That's how Diablo 4 is structured. You can basically do any mission that you want to. Let's say you're in the middle of Act 2. You bored of Act 2, just go to Act 3. Oh, you skip some of Act 1 and you decide to do something Act 2, then you want to go back and do Act 1, you can do that. Like, that is the consequence of the open world design, that the story can even be a little bit disjointed too, because you're going through all these different acts. You're going through all these different acts in different types of order.
RPG that fooled you into thinking you were growing and getting stronger. Now sure, you'd certainly have more abilities at level 70 than 2, but the point is when you level up in Diablo 4, you don't get stronger, the enemies do, and you receive a skill point to deal with it. So because the challenge is consistently easy from start to finish, I was basically playing this game on autopilot, and if I wanted a game I could turn my brain off and play, I'd grind RuneScape. But Diablo is an action RPG. I want action. I want something that's fun, exciting, and fraught with danger. And if it's got some spooky, scary moments, that's a huge plus too. This level scaling mechanic is one of the most fucked up things I've ever seen in an RPG. It goes beyond simply making the moment-to-moment combat stale and repetitive. And you might be thinking, well, Ackman, what about Oblivion and Skyrim? Well, that's a lot different because you have some control over the difficulty, and the scaling only affects the types of enemies you encounter. So it's a lot different. To be fair, I think Diablo 4 excels in its enemy design. There's a ton of cool creepy demons like those spider hosts and the walking ball sacks that spawn flies. The Balrogs return, as do the Fallen. Everything fits a theme based on the area it's in, and I like that. Enemies can spawn in.
Now I gotta say he is right about this. The enemy designs is passable. They alright. I don't think they're nothing amazing. They good. They gonna say the enemy design is good. They good enough for what it does. Like, the enemy design are alright. Probably because Diablo 4 is already a pretty game, so the enemy design is naturally gonna look good and look appealing, because Diablo 4 is just such a good looking game. Even on low setting, Diablo 4 is a good looking game. That one that I can get Blizzard. Blizzard is very, very good when it comes to making polished games. Because Blizzard can make a game run at low settings look like it run on high. Because Blizzard is just good at polishing. My problem with Blizzard is that Blizzard is good at polishing, but they're not good at balancing. They ain't good at keeping people around for their games. That's the problem with Blizzard. Blizzard got good polish, but they don't know how to keep people playing their game for a very long period of time.
In unique ways, they
Or just Blizzard makes stupid choices.
unfreeze in the snowy areas or ambush you when you loot certain chests. Enemy movesets are flashy and fun to play around. Scaling fucks with the world and level design much more than you'd expect, because every corner of the game is now stuck at the same difficulty level. Therefore, no zone stands out or feels more challenging than the last. There is no sense of progression. Again, what if you took this scaling difficulty and added it to Elden Ring? What if you went to Caelid at the start and you didn't get your ass whooped by those giant dogs? Well, then that place wouldn't be as memorable. The desolate atmosphere and red-tinted sky would betray the tone of Caelid. The land of Caelid would not have this stigma among Souls fans of being a challenging, oppressive area of the game, and that's what makes it stand out. You get what I'm saying? When you give players far too much freedom to explore an open world and you don't gatekeep any sections of it, then they end up having nothing to look forward to and nothing to go back to. It feels like there's no rhyme or reason to what I'm doing in the world of Sanctuary, and it doesn't matter what order I do it in, so it all just feels the same to me. Is this making any sense, or am I just talking out of my Diablo butthole? Diablo. You know how in Breath of the Wild, after leaving the tutorial, you could go straight to Ganon's castle? I mean, you'd stand no chance, but that type of freedom is genius because you're given a sense of progression in the world and
Actually, if you're good enough, you kind of can beat Breath of the Wild when you first leave it. That if you are skilled at parrying attacks for the most part. But hey, at least it's possible to beat Ganon when you first start the game. You probably ain't gonna survive very long, but hey, you can give it a try.
different zones. You're not supposed to be here yet, but the designers still let you. I feel like this is just like basic open world RPG design 101. They dangle a super hard boss or tough enemy in front of you and say, come back when you're stronger, bitch. There's plenty of examples. The anti-guy in Paper Mario, the skeletons next to Firelink Shrine, or the sword dancer in Tales of Symphonia. That's why going back to Slaughter the Tree Sentinel was so satisfying, because at that point you feel like you've grown stronger and gotten better at the game since he whooped your ass. And it's that feeling of growth and accomplishment that I tend to chase in RPGs. Unfortunately, in my 30 hours of playing Diablo 4, I never once had that feeling. These types of difficulty spikes, they just give me something to look forward to. I need a challenge I can't beat yet, or a super difficult optional boss thrown in my face, a forbidden area I can't access yet. That's what inspires me to grind and get better gear, to see more of the game, right? If you brought Diablo 4's version of scaled difficulty to other RPGs, you'd see how fucking atrocious it is. Like I said, I did the first capstone dungeon at level 48, so I was 2 levels below the recommended, and after 30 hours, like, this was the challenge I'm looking for. The boss is well designed, dying to him made me pissed, I felt some tension every time I got close to killing.
Yeah, the dude kicked my butt too, I ain't gonna lie. The dude right here gave me a run for my money too. I think it took me like 2 days to defeat, like a day to defeat this dude. They ain't gonna lie, the dude gave me and I was level 50 when I fought him. That's the crazy part. Like, I was actually his level when I fought him. And he still kicked my butt.
On him and was running low on healing potions. My point is, why did I have to beat the game to start being challenged by it? Remember how simple Diablo 1 was? There were 16 levels and each one got progressively more difficult and was filled with different...
Man, I can easily answer this question why Diablo 4 story mode is easy. Because the game made for casuals. Diablo 4 is a casual ARPG. It's a casual action game. Action RPG. It is casual. It meant for casual player. If the main story was hard in Diablo 4, how many people would quit the game? A bunch of casual would quit the game. Like, that Blizzard new design philosophy that Blizzard always try to cater to the lowest denominator. The worst of the worst players. That is Blizzard's floor. Blizzard floor is literally on the floor when it comes to player skill. Because Blizzard is a game company that feel like they need to hold their players' hand. Shoot, that's what having in-game. In-game dungeons are not even fun to run because in-game dungeons really don't give you nothing. In-game dungeon in Diablo 4 are the equivalent of doing something really hard. They're like, look, you know the thing by running Nightmare Dungeon in Diablo 4. Nightmare Dungeon don't give you nothing in Diablo 4. Nightmare Dungeon is the equivalent of getting a promotion, but only getting 5% raise. That is the equivalent of Diablo 4 Nightmare Dungeon. You get like $1 raise. Yeah. You get $1 for you get a promotion, but you only get $1 for actually getting a promotion, because that's how Nightmare Dungeons are. You get challenged more, but you don't get no reward. You don't get rewarded for that challenge.
Different and tougher enemies. The soundtrack and visuals would change as you got closer to Diablo's lair and hell itself. This is a very simple way to convey to the player that the challenge was evolving. This doesn't happen in Diablo 4. It doesn't matter when you go to hell. The challenge will be the same. It's like, this is a game about fighting the forces of fucking hell. Slaying demons. I'm not the Doomslayer. I can't be the scariest thing in the game. I want it to be challenging. I want to run into some big fuck off demon that whoops my ass. Blizzard likes to remind everyone that
Wait a minute, this game where somebody can spend like $1,000 and get a certain ship? I think I heard this game, Star Citizen. I think you can spend like a lot of money. You can get like overpowered ships and stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
Diablo 4 was going back to its roots. They say darkness has returned.
Well, the initial direction was Diablo 2.
The art direction for Diablo 4 is really rooted in this idea of delivering on the fantasy of a dark Gothic medieval world.
And that was kind of the initial art direction of the game in general, was darker and grittier, and Diablo 2 was kind of the inspiration.
We wanted to bring Diablo 4 artistically more back towards like Diablo 2, the much darker style.
Major redesign to make them feel more grim, a little scarier, a little darker.
And when writing this next chapter, we really wanted to return to our darker roots.
Everything's a little darker, everything's more difficult.
The story of Lilith and Inarius is the darkest story we've ever told.
What?
Without me, you would have no victory. And its cost will be more than you can pay.
It's the darkest story we've ever told.
You have done well, Marius. Now I think you shall have your reward.
What have I done to deserve it?
The story of Lilith and Inarius is the darkest story we've ever told.
Dude, that's like more dark. Dude, that's more darker than Diablo 4. Diablo 4 really ain't that dark. Like Diablo 4 really don't tell a dark story. Like, yeah, a couple characters get killed here and there, but that's basically it. Now, like, dude, Diablo 4 really ain't that gritty. Sure, it's not. I never played Diablo 3, but I know Diablo 3 was kind of like more high fantasy. It was. I know Diablo 3 was kind of less dark, but Diablo 4, it wasn't. It was dark, but it really wasn't dark.
The dark tone is at direct odds with the gameplay because you're slaughtering endless hordes of trash mobs like it's nothing. You could compare this idea to Bloodborne or Bioshock or Dead Space, where the gameplay matches the tone of the locations and narrative. You see, the brilliance of Diablo 1's design is there are very few moments where you can let your guard down, even at the start, because even the trash mobs can surround you and kill your ass.
Here's one major flaw I see in that man video. He comparing a 19-something game to a 2023 game. Dude, Eggman, I love your content, but dude, this is when Blizzard actually cared about their fans. I ain't saying Blizzard still done well. No, we already know Blizzard don't care about their fans. But dude, Blizzard are trying to appeal to casuals. Blizzard is trying to appeal to casual. They trying to make casual feel special. This is sadly this don't appeal to casuals. Blizzard wants to appeal to the people that gonna play this game for like a few hours and put it down.
This made exploration in Diablo 1 very tense and methodical. It was an action RPG, but it also felt like a survival game. But this whole aspect of surviving the forces of hell started to become more and more irrelevant when they released the second game. The issue with Diablo 1's design is that it doesn't fulfill the power fantasy modern gamers are looking for in a Diablo game. Like I said, the tastes have changed, and I accept that. Diablo fans nowadays want to kill hordes.
You know what? I take my last statement back. He acknowledged it. That, yeah, gamer taste had changed. Gamers now just want pure power fantasy. Like, forget all the horror, forget all the tension. We just want pure power. Like, we want to feel like nothing can stop us. That's modern game in a nutshell. That when you present, that what happen if you present a challenge to the player. They don't feel powerful anymore. Like what going on? Like I supposed to be powerful. Like why can I one shot this boss? Why you think half the casual don't make past the first capstone dungeon? Most casuals do not make it past the capstone. Look, I ain't saying Diablo 4 my first Diablo game, but I got to Torment 4. I got to World Tier 4. But most people that first play Diablo 4 is not gonna make it to World Tier 3. Cause most people that play Diablo casually gonna stop at the store and that's it. Because soon they get to that capstone dungeon, they gonna that those mob gonna tear their butt up. And once they start actually, and once the casuals start actually have to start facing the challenge, then the game just stop being fun to them. Cause most casuals do not like to have challenge. Why do you think most games now are just so watered down? Because casuals do not like to have the challenge. They like to have that power fantasy. So they can't have complete gameplay, because they have complete gameplay, then the casual gonna quit.
Of demons that fill up the entire screen, and they want to feel like a badass. The problem I have with this is it makes most fights with basic enemies feel totally trivial and pointless, because they serve no actual threat. Now, this doesn't bother me in normal RPGs where you outlevel enemies, because of the scaling, that's not a thing. At some point, I realized that fighting random enemies on the way to a quest was a waste of time, because the quest itself will give me demons to fight, so I might as well skip all combat in the open world entirely. You see, it's not enough to make a somewhat linear ARPG that progresses in challenge through 5 different acts. They need to make a Diablo game into some sort of endlessly replayable grind fest in order to maximize player retention and justify a live service replayable grind. The quest itself will give me demons to fight, so I might as well skip all combat in the open. It doesn't bother me in normal RPGs where you outlaw.
Sorry, I had to go back for a little bit because something was messed up with my headset. Something messed up my earphone where the audio was just skipping just a minute ago. Like, if it wasn't doing it for y'all, I'm sorry, but I just rewinded back for a little bit because I don't know what the word that was.
Level enemies? Because of the scaling, that's not a thing. At some point, I realized that fighting random enemies on the way to a quest was a waste of time, because the quest itself will give me demons to fight, so I might as well skip all combat in the open world entirely. You see, it's not enough to make a somewhat linear ARPG.
Like, honestly, the monster model don't even be there, to be honest with you, because, dude, once you get the mount, you can just ride past the enemies. Like, the enemies don't mean nothing in Diablo 4. The open world enemies don't mean nothing. The event that happen out in the world don't mean nothing. Diablo 4 even got the seller that nobody even uses because the seller don't give you nothing. Like, half of the activities in Diablo 4 are pointless besides dungeons. That is it.
That progresses in challenge through 5 different acts. They need to make a Diablo game into some sort of endlessly replayable grind fest in order to maximize player retention and justify a live service business model. Diablo 2 was more open, but it was segmented, you know? You couldn't just run to the Act 5 area at the start of the game. If they had to have the open world, I would have suggested make the campaign somewhat linear, and then once players beat the game, the world opens up. But there would be a lot more to it than that. The point is, when you throw hundreds and thousands of trash mobs at me, it trivializes the combat and therefore trivializes the threat hell itself poses to the world of Sanctuary. When I did finally get to hell, there was a brief moment of excitement. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm gonna start seeing some crazy ass enemies. And then it was the same demons I was fighting at the start of the game. Even at unique bosses.
Like, dude, Blizzard could not be bothered to create. Blizzard could not been bothered to create new enemies for the final zone in the game. Like, dude, you are about to go fight Lilith in her home base, but you still fighting the same enemies you were fighting back in Kiveshed.
Aren't all that challenging. Take the Astaroth battle, it's built up quite a bit. I mean, you're fighting a Hell Knight riding a giant 5-headed demon dog. Talk about fucking epic. This should be a major checkpoint in the player's skills, and this guy should be a total badass. Instead, he's a cakewalk because of scaling difficulty. I made a video a long time ago about the most important thing every video game needs, and it's challenge. If I'm not challenged, you know, then I don't see a point. I don't see a point to playing the game, and that's how I feel about Diablo 4. I might have been willing to grind to World Tier 3 and deal with the game's lack of difficulty up to that point if it weren't for the second crippling flaw, the skills.
You're gonna have to make a second recording because my earphones. Okay, I'm back. I had to make that quick change to my OBS because my earphone, for some strange reason, just decided it didn't want to cooperate no more. So I decided not to use them. So yeah, that's something, ain't it? So anyway, let's get right back to the video.
Now, at first I was having a blast with this game, and every time I leveled up, I was super pumped to spend the next 5 minutes looking at the skill tree and carefully considering what I would put my point in. I felt like my playstyle was constantly expanding until I unlocked my ultimate. Once you do that, the game becomes extremely repetitive as your playstyle is set in stone from then on, and you're only investing points.
Oh yeah, I kind of agree on that point a little bit. Like the ability version in Diablo 4 is just not there. It is just not there, dude. It's really not. Okay, let's see what you got in Diablo 4. You got your basic skill. You got your core skill. You got your since I'm playing the rogue, I got the sufferer skill. Then I got the another skill. I don't know what that part called. Then I got my viewpoint skills. Then you got your ultimate and you got your passive. That's it. That's it for Diablo 4. That's your skill tree. And whatever playstyle you choose to play, you better be dedicated to that playstyle because trying to change that playstyle can be a headache.
Points in passive bonuses and stat increases. Sure, you can respec and swap out skills, but you're only allowed 5 abilities and a basic attack. Once you max these abilities out, you can only move laterally, not vertically. You can't expand your playstyle or your arsenal of tools. You can only swap things out. Does that make sense? Yes, this limitation does create trade-offs and forces players to think carefully about what to invest in and what type of playstyle they want. But I remember Diablo 2 doing this exact same thing and letting you have 8 abilities and a basic attack. And shit, 2 weapons you could swap between. Shit, man, even the original Diablo.
Yo, why they couldn't do it for Diablo 4? Dude, you had 8 abilities in Diablo 2. I did not know this, that you had 8 abilities. Why they downgrade to 5? And it can't be because controller has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Controller have 8 buttons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, I think one button used for the potions. I think the B button used for the dodge. But you have like 2 click down buttons though. So they could have did 8. I think Diablo 4 could have worked in a way you could have did 8. Like you could have had like your support, your utility abilities on the press down thumbstick, but you had your other ability. Yeah, they could have did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They could have did at least about 7 buttons. Like 7 buttons would fit on the controller easily. Like I don't see the problem. They should did 7 buttons. I mean at least 7. I think 7 buttons would have been fine. Instead of having like only 5 abilities.
Let you have what, like 30 different abilities and magic spells? I guess this 5 skill limitation in Diablo 4 wouldn't bother me so much if it weren't so tedious to change builds, right? If you get to a super high level in Diablo 4 and decide to change your playstyle, you better have enough gold to change it back in case you hate it, because there is no loadout system, which I think would work if you could purchase like loadout slots and you could swap those out at the stash. I'd probably keep playing the game if that was a thing, but right now it just feels like Diablo 4 is insistent on.
Yo, honestly, I think games like this would majorly benefit for not having, you shouldn't have to spend gold to order to change your build. Like I think your build should be tied to your I think you should be able to change your build for free. Because I think the skill points are good enough for you to limit your build diversity a little bit. I feel like the reason I think they should do that because it made the game less boring, less tedious. Like, just let players change their build whenever they want to without having to go grind gold. But in Diablo 4, you get a bunch of gold at the end of the day. It won't even matter. Because the game is so general. You would not use gold in D4. Diablo 4, you would not use gold at all.
On restricting the most fun aspects of its gameplay. Is it for balance? Balance for what? PvP? Who the fuck cares? WoW lets you use like 500 different abilities. Balance for PvE? That's a laugh. We just established the game is too easy up until you hit level 50. Maybe it's to force players to make trade-offs, and that seems more likely, but come on, man. It's boring.
A main cornerstone of D4 is play your way.
Between all of our different systems, you can really create a custom character in ways that was not available in previous Diablo titles.
You're a liar! You're a liar! In the eternal conflict between the high heavens and the burning hells, Diablo 4 offers you more choice than ever before.
This too is false.
Because we have all of these different ways to make your own character, there's a lot more possibility compared to previous titles of how you want to play, how you want to build your character.
Liar! You see, I had this fantasy of being a lightning-throwing, shape-shifting druid. I wanted to have a hybrid between those two builds, but I had to settle for just the lightning. Why can't we have more hotkeys? Is it a technical limitation, like because they're making a game for consoles too? Well, that doesn't make sense because Dragon Age Origins, Fable, and other RPGs have had workarounds for that issue. But let's look at another top-down RPG that...
That's a shame. That's a shame, dude. That Dragon Age, a game that was made back in 2008, I believe. A game that was made when the 360 era can do this when Blizzard can't in 2023. That's what I mean. Sometimes I feel like games are going bad than actually improving. Because some system we had in the past, I don't know why they can't do it today. Why can we do it back then but can't do it now? That don't make no sense. You can't. How are we going backward but not forwards? Like, that crazy.
That's also on console. Divinity Original Sin 2, one of the greatest video games ever made. You can invest points in the memory stat to unlock more skill slots. There's no limit, and you can do this with 4 different characters. It's literally like that easy. Or at least it would be if when you leveled up, you can invest points in attributes, but you can't do that in Diablo until level 50. What the fuck? What were they thinking? Look, these are 2 radically different kinds of games, but the point is, as someone who's played a fuck ton of RPGs, I have a lot more fun with this than this. The limitations on skills and the backwards-ass design of scaling difficulty have basically killed any long-term enjoyment I could have had with this game.
You blew it!
Diablo 4 is plagued by so many what the fuck were they thinking type of issues. It's almost comical.
What the fuck?
You know how when PC players play a first-person shooter and they lose their mind if they can't control the field of view? That's exactly how I felt playing Diablo 4. Like, bro, why is the camera so zoomed in?
Oh yeah, this is a huge issue in Diablo 4. This is my pet peeve. Like, dude, your field of view is so, your field of view is just so small. I won't say small, but it's just so limiting. Like, dude, you would not be able to see a mob unless your character is right near the mob. I'm like, dude, because I be running nightmare dungeons and stuff. I'd be like, dude, I gotta be right up close to the mob, and I be playing like a range build. I'm playing a rogue range build, and sometimes be like, dude, I'm playing a rogue range build for me or to get to the mob. I gotta literally be right up on them for my camera, can my camera actually be where they at so I can see am I actually doing damage to them or not. That crazy.
They got custom games in Warcraft 3 that let you zoom out further than what the base game lets you. Dude, zooming out is one of the biggest features they flaunted when they were promoting StarCraft Remastered. I just don't get it. Look, I'll show you, okay? Here's the FOV in the original. Character ain't too big, looks great. Here's Diablo 2, same thing. Even Diablo 3 somehow got this right. And
dude, that is perfect. That perfect, actually. Cause dude, the camera literally be right up on your character, man.
Then, well, what the fuck? Throughout my playthrough, I kept spamming the scroll button in vain, hoping it would zoom out, but it never does. Wait, hold the fucking phone. You can zoom out? I've been playing for 20 hours and now when I'm in hell near the end of the goddamn game, it can finally zoom out? Why couldn't I play the rest of the game like this? Why does it only zoom out at parts where the developers want to show off the level design? The level design's beautiful, by the way. Why do I even have to complain about this? It just shouldn't be an issue. Just let me zoom out. I figure we might as well discuss the side content Diablo offers. Well, most of it is pretty fun initially, like the dungeons, some side quests have interesting bits of story, and the strongholds are fun, lengthy battle.
Why they got that hit in the emote menu? Why they got that hidden in the emote menu? Like when I never used the emote menu. I didn't know it was a thing.
But these activities get old real quick. It's pretty obvious they had a quantity over quality mentality to ensure there was a lot of content for players to grind and complete. So there's 5 main areas in the game, and by completing the side content you earn renown, which lets you unlock important things like extra skill points, more potion capacity. It's pretty much necessary to max these things out after you beat the campaign. Problem is, once again, as a result of the live service, Blizzard intends to reset the renown you've earned with every season. Why is this
stupid? That's stupid, dude. Oh great, now I gotta do all these side quests I don't care about. None of these dungeons well, the normal dungeon I don't care about. I just want to run a nightmare dungeon. And the nightmare dungeon you get are random, so you probably can get the same dungeon twice. But you want me to regrind renown. And you want me, a good thing, I don't know, you gotta find all stat sheet because they make it so vague. I think they say in like oh god, dude, season of the malignant, what we call that? Call that season malignant, whatever. I believe they said that you don't have to regrind the altars of Lilith or rediscover the map. You get those points automatically, but there is some stuff you really need to do to order. There's some stuff you still need to do to order to get the rest of your renown point. That means you gotta do all those side quests you don't care about and all those normal dungeons you don't care about. So yeah.
It's a problem because most Diablo fans fucking hated grinding for it.
I don't know why they are.
Like, dude, let me tell you what renown is. You know what I did for my Altars of Lilith? You know what I did half the time? I was looking at my phone on a map to see what the altars said. I don't think I was staring at my phone. Oh shoot, my bad. I think I was staring at my phone more than I was actually looking at the game.
Are holding on to the idea that refarming renown will be fun. I don't want to do the same side quests again. They're fucking annoying and they're a waste of time. I don't want to have to re-clear the same pointless dungeons for no reason.
You've probably seen people say stuff like, if I don't want to have to grind renown again, if I have to grind renown again, I'm not playing anymore. And I'm sitting over here thinking to myself, so if the side content is that bad, if it's so boring that you never want to experience anything like it ever again, then that's not content, dude. Those are chores. You're at the grocery store right now, checking off a list.
I kind of forgive that man because he kind of didn't. He didn't make it to World Tier 3. I'm guessing he don't know about Nightmare Dungeons. He just don't know about him because he got so bored with the game. He didn't want to experience. Like, he didn't get to the point where he got to Nightmare Dungeons. Like, dude, that is bad when your casual player. I call it Ant-Man a casual player because he didn't get the World Tier 3, but I can't blame him, dude. Like, if I feel like the game wasn't rewarding my time, I would stop playing. Honestly, the reason I like Diablo 4 because I just bought the... Dude, I literally bought Diablo 4 because I want to get to end game fast as possible. That was my goal right after the start. How fast can I get to end game? That was all I worried about. I did not worry about the story. I did not care about the story. Honestly, I don't even remember the character from the story. The only character I remember from Diablo 4 story is that is the girl you meet, Natalie. That's it. That's the only character I remember from Diablo 4. All the rest of them, You got your wizard dude. You got your I don't even remember their names, man. They how bad. They how boring the character was. Natalie was the only character that has somewhat of a memorable role in Diablo 4 campaign. But all the other characters, I just don't remember. Like, they're just so forgettable. Like, Diablo 4 treat their characters like extras. Like, they don't matter at all.
You know, maybe these activities are worth re-examining and redesigning to make grinding renown a fun experience so that players are open to doing that again. In the promotional videos, Blizzard kept reiterating how much content there is, and that players will never run out of things to do.
It's been created to feel full of things to encounter, full of secrets to discover, full of characters to interact with, full of stories to find.
You have so many activities that you might run into.
Diablo 4 offers so much more for players to do than ever before.
We've really crafted the world to feel like there's always something just around the corner to find.
Every single time you come back to play Diablo 4, there's going to be new stuff for you to experience.
There's over 120 dungeons to play through and find.
We've got almost 150 dungeons in the game.
There's going to never be an absence of something to do. It's really just going to be a way to keep coming back and experiencing more Diablo 4.
It's usually a red flag.
It's going to be a way to...
Game.
There's going to never...
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No. Oh God, dude.
This
Let me take
game.
I try to rewind to a part.
Entire concept of purchasing items and stamina, strength requirement. You want to do more? It all morphs together.
Sorry guys.
What's next on the agenda? How much content there is.
All right, I'm back.
Players will never run out of things to do.
It's been created to feel full of things to encounter, full of secrets to discover, full of characters to interact with, full of stories to find.
You have so many activities that you might run into.
Diablo 4 offers so much more for players to do than ever before.
We've really crafted the world to feel like there's always something just around the corner to find.
Every single time you come back to play Diablo 4, there's going to be new stuff for you to experience.
There's over 120 dungeons to play through and find.
We've got almost 100.
And get what? Half those dungeons do not matter except for the nightmare ones. The nightmare ones are the only dungeon that is worth running. Before the nightmare buff. Honestly, the nightmare dungeon wasn't even worth running. People would actually just run normal dungeon that was just packed with mobs to level up faster. Because before the patch, they gave nightmare dungeon more EXP. It was better to run normal dungeon with high density mobs than it was to run nightmare dungeons, because nightmare dungeon had no incentive to run them.
50 dungeons in the game.
There's going to never be an absence of...
You ain't gonna lie, dude. She look kind of cute.
Something to do. It's really just going to be a way to keep coming back and experiencing more Diablo 4.
It's usually a red flag when I hear developers talk like this, because what they're actually trying to say, if you translate it, is our game is going to have endless amounts of boring, tedious, and shallow activities. They focus on the scale of content instead of its quality. They prioritize the grind instead of the fun, the exciting, and the new. I don't know, man. I guess I just don't get it. I don't understand the appeal of having my progress and my character reset every few months, and then having the devs try to pass it off as a feature and not a corrupt save file. You know, getting to level 40 and saving up enough money to buy a mount in WoW Classic was a big deal.
Me personally, I don't care about the season reset, because you get new story stuff. I really don't care about the season reset. If I had to create a new character to experience the new story, fine. Experience the new content, fine. Like, I don't give it a shot. I ain't gonna diss it because it's something I never tried for. Like, I'm open-minded to the season reset. I really don't care about the season reset. Like, if I like it, I'll say, hey, the season reset is not that bad. If I don't like it, I was like, yeah, nah. I'm not too big of a fan of the season reset. But I'm gonna give it a shot first. Like, I ain't gonna diss a mechanic that I never even tried. Like, it's just no.
Felt so accomplished after I did that, and that I could explore the world much more efficiently. But more importantly, Blizzard didn't take my mount away after 3 months and say, go do all that shit again, asshole. What's next on the agenda? Stats and loot. The bread and butter of most RPGs and the main reason people play them for hundreds of hours. On some occasions, you do get a nice reward for completing a quest or defeating a boss, like this amulet that summons a barrier or the Mother's Embrace ring you get from Lilith, but these are extremely rare in the campaign. Now, it might just be me, but I find the majority of loot drops in Diablo 4 to be terribly unexciting, to the point where I hardly read what most items actually do. And at a certain point, I just walk past chests because they rarely hold anything of interest. I think the loot is extremely boring for a few reasons. Number one, it all looks extremely generic. Maybe it's because I'm playing as a druid and just the druid items are boring, but when I look at the loot in Diablo 1 and 2, it just looks way fucking cooler. You got like the Skull Shield or Arcane's Valor. I mean, look at the helmets and how colorful and different they are.
You see, this is when game developers actually cared about their games. Like they actually went out their way to make the weapons look different, instead of make them look like a reskin with slightly different stats.
But in Diablo 4, when I find a pair of boots, I feel like it's the same fucking pair of boots I've already seen 100 times. Am I the only one who feels this way? Am I missing something? Am I tripping? You know, maybe it also has to do with the fact that every item takes up the same amount of space and the icons all look so similar that in my brain, it all morphs together. There are very few moments where finding a piece of loot is genuinely exciting in Diablo 4. And part of that is because I'm also not a huge fan of RPGs that dump a bunch of meaningless numbers and stats into the menu and equipment. Remember how awesome it was in WoW when you got that first item that boosted your stats instead of equipment? Remember how awesome?
Yeah, man, those stats are kind of important. Honestly, those stats are more important than your main stats. Like, Diablo 4 goes out of its way to lie to the player that those stats they first presented with actually matters. Your strength, armor, and your health, well, except for your health, they're the only accurate stat the game got, do not matter at all. They don't matter at all. Your strength and your damage and your armor don't matter. It don't matter. Those stats are lying to you.
It was in WoW when you got that first item that boosted your stats instead of just armor.
Oh, dude, 4 strength, 4 stam, leather belt. Level 18.
I think part of the reason this clip became a meme is his excitement mirrored our excitement. And that was for a belt that he found at level 18. I have never been even close to this excited for any item in Diablo 4. When appraising the value of an item in an RPG, it really helps to understand the game's mechanics and what certain
like these stats right here matter more than the stat. Like, look, these stats right here, right? These matter more than your attack power. Your attack power mean nothing in this game. It might don't even be there. Armor mean nothing. Your health, the only stat that actually accurately reflects your character. Now, these are your main stats. These are your core stats. Since he playing as a druid, his core stat gonna be willpower.
Stats actually improve. If the stats and numbers are too convoluted, then players aren't going to understand or feel any tangible benefit from
and these stats are more important when you get to in-game, because in-game require you to have certain stats that will make your build viable.
Increasing them, right? Again, you look at items in WoW, it's like plus 17 stamina. What does plus 1 stamina do? Plus 10 HP. Okay? You can easily wrap your head around that. But because the sense of progression in Diablo 4 is so fucking skewed, now you find an item that's like plus 9 to all stats. And you're like, what the fuck? That sounds awesome. I'm only level 20. And then you look at what 1 point of strength does. And what does it do? Gives you 1 point of armor. Okay, well, I have 3,000 points of armor. So
yeah, those stats do not matter. Those stats lie. Those are lying stats. Those stats are lying straight to your face. These stats right here do not matter. Attack power don't matter. Armor don't matter. Because the game values the stat they hidden in the materials and stats instead of these stats right here.
Oh, this is worthless.
I had to find out the hard way because I had to watch other Diablo YouTubers explain that to me. I think it's a failure of the game when you actually had to go out and look at a separate source to understand what the world going on in your systems. That's a major game failure right there. When you had to go to a separate source to understand how to play the game. That is a failure on the game part to communicate what's important and what's not important.
to me. I can't get over this. Like, strength doesn't improve your damage or nothing? What does strength typically do in an RPG? You want to use this big ass weapon? Strength requirement. You want to do more damage? Strength.
And this is another thing about Ackman. I ain't blaming Ackman, but this is the knowledge of the game. Cause Ackman, I can tell he's very casual with Diablo 4. Like he just don't. Ackman does not understand that your character, depending on what class you play, strength stat are different. Like for the rogue strength stat is dexterity. The druid, I believe, is willpower. I think the barbarian's main stat is strength. I know it sounds stupid, but that's how Blizzard got this game programmed. And it makes it so complicated because for people that don't take the time to go on YouTube and actually figure this stuff out, they just think, oh, should this increase this or should this increase this? Like, that's why I say Diablo 4 has a failure to communicate its system properly to the player. The player has to go on a separate source just to find out what stat does what. There is a complete failure of the game when you had to go on YouTube just to find out how to play the game. That's a failure for the game. That's a major miscommunication. And that could easily frustrate new players or player wondering what they're doing wrong in their build if they don't go on YouTube to find out.
Bro, even in Warcraft 3, the strength stat did more than what it does in Diablo 4, and that wasn't even an RPG. I've never played an RPG like this where the core stats felt so fucking useless, so meaningless to increase. This is apparently what the entire Paragon board is all about. Yeah, and let's talk about that shit. How do you balance a game that has skill trees this big by making each point basically worthless? Diablo 1 did it better. I cannot for the life of me understand what they were thinking. The reason I bring all this up is because so many of the stats on items I look at it and I'm like, well, this doesn't mean anything to me, or it doesn't feel important. League of Legends champion design suggests that giving players fewer but more meaningful passives is far more desirable.
Here's the thing is that Eggman coming for this like he just got through playing. He should play the story. Like he didn't play the end game or nothing because the game bored him so bad that he just quit. Which I can't blame him. The game bored me. I quit too. But Eggman is missing some few things. He missed some few things about the stat system in Diablo 4. It's like that the stat those main stats I just show y'all do not matter at all. And the gear system is basically, oh, what can I roll? What can I roll? You want to get the perfect roll. You want to get a god roll that most people call in Diablo 4 or any loot game where you want stats that roll a perfect stats. So basically, you want something called, well, I explained it, but you want something called god roll. You want to roll that just max out that gear. And it probably won't even max out because it's randomized. You basically playing a slot machine if you're gonna get good gear or crap gear. And there's no way to target form these things either. Like you literally just rolling dice for what piece of gear you get and what stat that gear roll with. You either can roll with good stats or bad stats.
Than a bunch of passives that offer minimal changes because you're not going to notice most of this shit at all, especially when the enemies are scaling with you. There's so many different damage models.
Yeah, he also don't realize some of those stats are additive and some of those stats are multiplicative. So you can add a bunch of stats to one piece of gear, but you're going to start getting diminished in turn. What you really want is multiplicative so you can multiply your damage by a lot.
Modifiers, complex number calculations like damage to close enemies, damage to distant enemies. Well, where's the stat for damage to enemies at a moderate distance? Why don't you have that?
Yo, I kind of hate that. I wish it just was a flat. I hate system like that. I just like flat damage reduction. Just flat damage reduction, flat damage dealing power, whatever. I don't like this. Oh, you gotta be close to the enemy to deal extra damage, or you gotta be far away. Like, dude, just make that. Just take all that and just combine it into one stat.
that as well? Why is it necessary to have like 8 different stats to calculate how much damage something does? Why do resistances reduce incoming physical damage as well as magical damage? It's just like, I just think this is like the worst stat system I've ever seen in an RPG. It defies belief to me. So again, going back to the original, enemies didn't respawn and levels were finite, so you were encouraged to kill everything, pick up every item, and sell the shit you weren't using. You could sometimes buy a really good item with gold, and in the later stages purchase elixirs to boost stats, and of course stock up on potions. But Diablo games, in my opinion, even the first two, always had a way of making gold feel kind of worthless. That has never been more apparent than in Diablo 4. It's like you'd only have 2 options.
Yo, honestly, this is why I'm gonna kind of come to Diablo 4 defense. Honestly, that happens like every RPG. Every RPG I play, when you get enough gold, gold do become very useless. That's like an RPG thing. It's not even a Diablo thing. Like, that I kind of needed to disagree with Eggman here. Like, gold is useless in every RPG. At least every RPG I play, once you get enough gold, gold basically just becomes irrelevant at a certain point. Because gear you find in a dungeon is always gonna worth more. It's always gonna worth more than gear you can just buy. Gold is worthless like in every RPG. At least all the RPGs I play, gold does not mean nothing. Because at the end of the game, you're gonna have a bunch of gold. It don't matter what RPG you play. So I kind of think this is kind of a nitpick, because every RPG does this. It ain't just a Diablo problem. It's an RPG problem, behind with you. Because you just get to a point where you get so geared out, you're buying new items just become redundant. The only time you gold in Diablo, because he probably didn't account it. He probably don't know about the occultists. He don't know about the occultists in the game, which he don't understand aspects either. That's another thing he probably don't understand about the game, because he didn't make it to end game because the game kind of bored him. So I understand that why he didn't want to find out about the other system, but he don't realize that other system is play as well, because if you ever rolled in the occultist, you realize how much gold you need to actually roll a good roll in there. Even taking your item and making aspects out of them can cost you a good amount of gold. And if you die enough, you gotta repair your gold at the blacksmith. So gold is worthless at a certain point, but at the same time, it really not when you trying to get your character to where you want them to be. Like I say, he didn't play the end game, so he probably don't know about all this, but I can't blame him from quitting because the game didn't appeal to him. The game didn't appeal to him, so I kind of understand why he don't know about this stuff. But I kind of think it's very important to know about the occultists for you can tell about gold, because gold is a valuable resource in D4. But it get to a point, you do get to a point where you just stack up on gold and just don't worry about it, because when you get your character maxed out to where they want to be, then gold do become pretty useless.
The shittiest gear you'll never use for dirt cheap, or drop all of your money on one overpowered item. I hate having just these 2 choices. So when you keep checking the shop inventory in Diablo 4 and it's never anything good, or it's something that requires you to drop all your money.
Dude, I never checked the shop in Diablo 4, dude. I never opened the shop, man, to be honest with you. There are only 2 instances when I opened the shop in D4. It's just to sell gear I wasn't using, or that's about it. Because I already knew that the shop ain't gonna have nothing that I want. I didn't even know if I even played the game that I wasn't gonna be visiting the shop, because the shop never have anything. Everybody knows in the RPG, the shop is literally one of the most useless places to go to for gear, because you buy something from the shop, 5 minutes later you're gonna find a piece of gear that outclass that shop gear real fast.
Money so you can't respec. You just stop checking. This blows my mind. The entire concept of purchasing items and equipment in an RPG is superfluous. That's a big fucking problem. I never once in my entire playthrough purchased a piece of equipment from a store. Now, sure, I did things like upgrade my potions or craft elixirs or upgrade my gear, but I never bought anything. In fact, this item has more item power, but the ring I currently have equipped has higher resistances. So, like, why the fuck would I ever buy this? Or that? Or that? Imagine creating an RPG where the in-game currency feels worthless. At one point, I stopped trying to pick up gold entirely if it was 2 seconds out of my...
Like I said, I can't blame him for the part, 'cause he didn't play far enough. That's the thing about him. He didn't play far enough, which I ain't saying that he should play far enough, because the game boring you. I recommend you quit, because don't play a game you don't enjoy. That one thing you should never do, because games are meant for you to have fun. If you ain't having fun in the game, you quit it. Like, ASAP. But I kind of had to defend gold here for a little bit, because he didn't mention the occultist, and I gotta say the occultist is a gold sink. Like, the gold sink is the occultist, because you're gonna use your gold to, like, craft new aspect, re-roll gear, and do all that. So since you don't know about the occultist, I give him a pad because he didn't play far enough. But yeah, gold can come in handy in D4 in some cases. Probably not the shop, but the occultist is a place to make your gold worth something.
Way. And again, because the value of items scales and everything is progressively getting more and more expensive, I feel like I'm only able to afford 1 or 2 items at any particular store. So I'm not about to drop all my cash on something that I'm just going to end up outscaling in an hour or 2. I think you've royally fucked up the in-game currency when taking 3 seconds to double back and pick up a pile of gold feels like a waste of time. So many facets of this game feel superfluous to me, and I'm not saying they are superfluous, it's just how they feel to me. So in a nutshell, my playstyle eventually developed into, okay, I'm skipping chests because those are worthless. I run through all combat in the open world because it's unnecessary. If gold isn't in my path, I don't go back for it. I skip through sections of dungeons so I can complete them faster. I skip dialogue and side quests so I can grind the renown.
And what I can understand where Eggman comes from, because Eggman, he's an old school gamer. Eggman's an old school gamer through and through. I can tell it. He's an old school gamer. So all the new stuff to him, I ain't trying to call him old. I ain't trying to insult it like he like old or something. I'm just saying that he got the old school mindset of how an RPG works. You know, like he ain't used to like all the. I don't know, how can I say this without calling? I ain't trying to call Ant-Man old, but I'm just trying to say that it's just that he kind of stuck in the Diablo 2 and the Diablo 1 situation, where Diablo 4 is a modernized game. Like, I ain't trying to call the dude old. Like I think he made some good points. He made good points about gold in Diablo 4, but at the same time, he I ain't trying to say he ain't played far enough, because I don't want to say his playtime wasn't valid. But I'm just saying, if he play a little bit, like he made to like World Tier 3, he would quickly find out that gold is very useful when it comes to your gear you currently have.
Faster. I don't go into the cellars anymore, and it's just like, dude, I'm just skipping.
Yeah, the cellars are useless. Dude, the cellars are useless in this game. You probably go in the cellar in your first playthrough, but you quickly forget that the cellar's even there, because the cellars are not good. They're not good. Why the cellars even in Diablo 4 to begin with? Because they don't give you no reward for completing them. Honestly, I think the cellars should just have been the extra dungeons, because the cellars do not give you nothing. The cellar is only good for early game. That's all the cellar is really good for, is early game gearing up. That is it. After the early game, cellar become irrelevant.
Skipping the game. I'm just skipping past all this shit. This is the game. Alright, Diablo 4, you've got one last chance to redeem yourself, and that's with this story. Is it any good? Well, I'm pleased to say that the opening cutscene is pretty fucking awesome. It begins with some grave robbers who are in way over their heads. They stumble across a power, the likes of which they can't even comprehend. And immediately the game establishes that sense of terror and fear that was sorely lacking in Diablo 3. Then your character arrives in a town, you clear a dungeon of demons out for them, you head back and start celebrating with...
Yo, you know it's sad, dude? This is the only part of the campaign I actually was memorable. Like, dude, think about it. The beginning of the game is the most memorable part because, dude, think about it. You are a traveler that just arrived into town. You clear a dungeon with monsters in it. Then when you come back and get a drink with a villager, they poison you. Like, dude, that's the only memorable part of the campaign of Diablo 4. Besides that, the rest of the game is just boring. The campaign is just so standard. It is so cliche. Like, Diablo 4 got such a cliche story. The only memorable part was your character getting roofied.
The townsfolk when all of a sudden, oh shit, you're poisoned. This guy brings you to a shack where they perform some kind of satanic human sacrifice ritual, and it's like, okay, all right. You got me invested. So while there are some decent moments here and there, after the introduction, the story takes a fucking nosedive like Amelia Earhart. The beginning and end of Diablo 4 are the game's strongest parts, narratively, likely because there are only 2 pre-rendered cutscenes that sandwich the rest of the story. Almost everything that happened in the middle is just a blur to me, which is strange because the setup for the plot is.
Oh, another memorable thing about Diablo 4 that you got the you had to like get on the back of a giant snake. You had to something like a giant spirit snake, and it just went all across the wood. That's another memorable part about Diablo 4 too. Like, I wish Diablo 4 did more crazy stuff like that. Like, I feel like Diablo 4 was just so boring. The story was like so standard. Like, they didn't do no crazy. They did not do anything crazy with Diablo 4's story. I wish they did more crazy stuff in Diablo 4's story, cause I feel like the story would have been more memorable. You know it's bad when the only parts that people actually remember about your story is the beginning and somewhat in the middle.
It's very interesting. You've got Lilith and Inarius, an angel and a demon who created Sanctuary. This is the first time we've seen like an archangel and a demon form some kind of an alliance. They seem to be the only entities on each faction with a desire to end the war between heaven and hell, or at least escape it. One of the major issues with the story is the part.
Dude, you never met Inarius. I think there's a missed opportunity for the game. Dude, I ain't gonna lie. When I got to the final section of Diablo 4, I was hoping that we get to fight Inarius or something. But you never fight him. You never fight Inarius, dude. Oh, you don't even team up with Inarius. Like, Inarius is just there. When I was in the final section of Diablo 4, dude, are we gonna fight Inarius, or are we gonna team up with Inarius to start Lilith? None of that happens. You don't even see the dude. Inarius is literally a background. He supposed to be the main character, but he is so far removed from the story that you forget that Inarius even a character.
Parts that don't include Lilith, Mephisto, or Inarius are terribly mundane. Characters are swapping in and out, and they get killed off, you know, the scene after they're introduced. Some of them
Dude, the only character I remember from Diablo 4 is Natalie. That's it. That's the only character. I can't remember nobody else's name. I know you had the wizard dude and you had like the warrior dude. Oh, you also had some kind of like spirit. I don't know none of their name. The only person I know is Mephisto and Natalie. That's the only 2 characters I remember from D4 story. And Elias. That is it. Those are the only 2 characters I remember from D4. Everybody else, I don't remember from Diablo 4. Diablo 4 characters are just so forgettable.
Even forget their name, like this guy who was in the tree. Nafane, I totally forgot he existed until I went back and watched my own footage. I think Diablo 4's story is further proof to me that Blizzard's style of writing has deteriorated severely in the last decade. You know, if you compare the end of act cinematics in Diablo 2 to 4, I mean, it's a major difference.
Now, we are truly alone. The creators of Sanctuary, Angel and Demon, Father and Mother, are dead.
I heard later that he was defeated. swordstones were destroyed in Hellforge. All except one.
The big difference is in Diablo 2, they actually show the events that Marius, the narrator, is talking about, as opposed to just like some boring static shots of like a horse walking through the snow. It's why I've seen like this.
Lilith and Astaroth had made a deal, and we were the ones who would pay the cost.
Is nowhere near as interesting or engaging as this.
Take it. Take it, take it. I'm glad this is finally over, Tyrael.
Everything happened exactly as Lilith wanted. We just danced to her music.
It's why I'm more interested in this.
Oh, I failed, Tyrael. I couldn't do as you asked.
And not so much this.
Donan was shattered. His mind on grief, not her. Not answers.
Look what the stone has done to me.
Playing Diablo 4 is like dating a pretty woman. The kind that the longer you talk to her, the more you realize she has the personality of a tampon. Wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle. Yes, there are hundreds of NPCs in several different towns, but the world design of Diablo 4 is a byproduct of the gameplay, less so the story. Now, what do I mean by that? What are those words that are coming out of your mouth, Act Man? Let me explain. The open world isn't there to service some kind of overarching or branching narrative. It's to create a big-ass map that the developers can litter with tons of activities to keep players busy and keep them grinding. You might have noticed that almost none of the optional dungeons in this game have any sort of story or history behind them. What I find the most immersive game worlds are those that tell a story while I'm playing through them.
This is peak. BioShock is peak. Nobody can debate me on this. I played the game on the Switch. Yeah, I played the Switch version. I have a Switch at the time. I bought the BioShock on sale. I enjoy that game thoroughly. It's very good. I recommend it.
Now, if you want to understand what's so wrong with Diablo 4's world, we need to look back at the first game, because it's the polar opposite of everything Diablo 4 is trying to be. I think Blizzard knows that Tristram is the most memorable location in the series, because in every sequel they find a reason to take you back there. Thing is, Blizzard doesn't seem to understand why Tristram is such an iconic and memorable location. Oh yeah, the music does some pretty heavy lifting, but the main reason comes down to this phrase: less is more. Bigger isn't always better. Just ask my gargantuan penis. Diablo 1 took place in a single location, Tristram, and there were 8 characters that lived there, a couple cows, and a cathedral that led down to hell where the bad guys were. Each character offered a combination of advice, exposition, and insight for the player. Whenever you got a quest in Diablo 1, you could ask each of the 8 residents about it. This added important context and massive build-up to each quest.
I saw what Farnham calls the Butcher, as it swathed a path through the bodies of my friends. He swung a cleaver as large as an axe, hewing limbs and cutting down brave men where they stood.
I know more than you think about that grisly fiend. His little friends got a hold of me and managed to get my leg before Griswold pulled me out of that hole. I'll put it bluntly. Kill him before he kills you and adds your corpse to his collection.
By the light, I know of this vile demon. I don't know what he used to slice open his victims, but it could not have been of this world. Beware if you plan to battle this fiend.
The Butcher is a sadistic creature that delights in the torture and pain of others. You have seen his handiwork in the drunkard Farnham.
Big cleaver, killing all my friends. Couldn't stab him, had to run away.
So everyone in town is telling you this guy is a big fucking menace, but from their own unique perspective. This added realism to the world of Diablo and its characters. It created build-up and tension to every quest.
Yo, honestly, I won't mind. They should. Oh shit. I won't mind they actually remastered Diablo 1. Like, I play it.
In every boss fight. There's a reason Blizzard keeps bringing back the Butcher in newer Diablo games, and it's because this quest from the first game is just that iconic. But why?
The spirits of the dead are now avenged.
Well, part of the reason is for every quest in Diablo 1, you get to consult the same 8 characters. This makes the plot easy to follow as it's not being communicated through like 40 different characters. Diablo 4 is like the exact opposite. It feels like once again the designers had to justify this open world design by having you constantly jumping from one area to the next. No one person, quest, or area is given enough screen time to become truly memorable aside from a handful of moments. Prime example of this style of writing is the Tree of Whispers. It's an ancient tree decorated with the severed heads of those who pursued its knowledge. Now that sounds fucking awesome, but this place has barely any build-up to it at all. You can't really ask characters to prod their knowledge of it. Lorath and Donan might have a couple lines, but it's nothing.
Yo, dude, you know it'd been awesome for like an in-game Tree of Whisper. The more bounty you, let's say more of Whisper you collect, you know how the in-game had you collect like the Whisper for complete in-game activities, right? Imagine if you complete those bounties, so the Whisper tree actually gave you like more backstory of it or more story. They've been pretty awesome. I ain't gonna lie.
And deep. So it makes this ultra cool area of the game feel far less important than the world is trying to make it out to be. What it boils down to is, ironically, the original Diablo, which takes place in a single town consisting of 8 characters, tells a vastly more interesting, relatable, and immersive story than all of the towns and people in Diablo 4 combined. Now maybe that's just nostalgia squirting out my ass, but let me convey this point with a question. Can you name a single blacksmith in Diablo 4?
I cannot. I'll be honest with you, dude. The blacksmith are memorable as this fan blowing in the background, blowing in my room. That's how memorable the characters in Diablo 4 is.
That's what I thought. Remember Griswold?
Whoa, what can I do for you?
Of course you do. Now run with me on this for a second. Instead of having one blacksmith who's like an actual character that you can talk to, who also repairs your shit and sells you stuff, we now have 75 soulless, empty blacksmiths scattered across the land of Sanctuary, none of whom play any role in the story or contribute at all to the world building. This doesn't apply to just the blacksmiths in the world of Diablo 4, it applies to all vendors in the game. They serve no purpose outside of gameplay, which I guess it's fine, like it's lazy, but it's fine. But do you see the conundrum? Since Diablo 4 is an open world game, if you take out 70 blacksmiths and leave only 5 or whatever, then it becomes tedious to find them. And Blizzard clearly didn't want to go through the effort of writing each blacksmith to be an actual character, and I don't blame them for that. My point is that in so many ways, Blizzard seems to sacrifice world building for an open world. Now call me crazy, but I think vendors and merchants play an important role in a video game, especially if that game is an RPG.
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
Welcome to the circus of
Value.
Got something that might interest you.
Yo, I like to be from Resident Evil 4. I ain't gonna lie.
I think all NPCs should play some kind of role in an RPG or offer a slice of life. But outside the characters in the main story, most of the people who inhabit Sanctuary aren't memorable or important at all. And therefore, neither is Sanctuary itself. I don't know, man. The scaling difficulty and restrictive skill trees make the core gameplay feel extremely easy, boring, and repetitive, and with some slight changes that they'll probably never do, would improve the game vastly. The loot is uninteresting, most of the game's content is shit I just ended up skipping trying to get to the fun part, but I never really got to the fun part. In the end, for all of Blizzard's efforts to make Diablo 4 a massive open world...
Yeah, honestly, I kind of agree. He really didn't get to the fun part. Like, the part he didn't get to is totally justified because Diablo 4 failed to make the game a fun experience for him. Like, I don't blame him. Like, why would you continue playing the game? Like, I don't think you shouldn't wait for the game to entertain you. The game should be entertaining right off the bat or midway through. I feel like Diablo 4 early and mid game is just kind of okay. I feel like in game really what Diablo 4 is at. But that's a problem. It shouldn't be like that. I think Diablo 4 endgame should be at the end, because if a player like Eggman didn't make it to the end game. He's a prime example of why you should make your early game good as possible. Because if your early game is not good, nobody ain't gonna care about the end game, because they want to have fun now. Why do they want to have fun at the end? If you ain't having fun at the beginning, in the middle, you ain't gonna get to the end, because you're gonna be done with it. You're gonna like, hey, I'm done with this. Like, I don't know why I'm playing this. I'm just wasting my time. I can be doing something else. I can be doing something productive. Like, I ain't gonna waste my time just because I don't want to waste my time just because the promise of something might be fun.
World game with tons of replayability, content, and depth, it ends up being no deeper than the puddle in my backyard. And that is why Diablo 4 is so bad.
And yo, another example for having a game that happened like a terrible early game is Kingdom Hearts 2. I know this went way off topic, me discussing Diablo from Kingdom Hearts 2. But anybody that played Kingdom Hearts 2 would know there's a section in the game that takes 6 hours. It takes 4 hours to get through. And it's like the most boring. It's literally a 4-hour tutorial in the game. This is a good game when you finally get to the fun part, which is at the 4 hour. But 4 hour is when a person is determined is a game good or not. A person will not wait 4 hours to have fun. A person will have fun right then and there. Nobody ain't gonna wait 4 hours for the game to get good. That's why having an early game is super having a good early game is super important.
Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe to the Act Man for more awesome content. Just a reminder that you can enjoy things even if I say bad things about it, and you can disagree with my opinions too. But don't let me rob your enjoyment or police your entertainment, alright? Alright everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!
I ain't gonna lie, I love to do video. This dude makes some good videos. Act Man is one of my favorite YouTubers. I ain't gonna lie, I've been watching this dude ever since I think 2018 or 2019. This dude made very good videos, and yeah, go subscribe to him, go like him and stuff. I already been subscribed to him for quite a while, but yeah, that is Diablo 4. And honestly, I think this is a prime example of a game failing to capture somebody attention for them to get the end game, because you are not gonna get to end game, and if you ain't enjoying the game you playing now. And Eggman is a prime example of that. He's a player that did not like that early to mid game, but he didn't get a chance to get to the end game. Like, stuff he thought were worthless will been very important in the end game. But at the end game, you shouldn't wait for system to become important at the end game. System should be important at the early and middle game. The end game should just add more stuff, or it should refine the gameplay. It shouldn't be a replacement for the actual game. And that's why I feel like Diablo 4 can be a better experience. Like, I think Diablo 4 can have better middle and early game. But if you ain't an in-game player in Diablo 4 and you want a challenge, you're not gonna get that until you get to the end game of the game. They're kind of fat, and I hate that Blizzard don't do more to make the middle and early game challenging. But I know why they don't do that though, because Blizzard be trying to appeal to casual. Like I said, Blizzard lowest player base is on the floor. Their floor ceiling is literally on the floor. Like, Blizzard literally cater to the least common denominator of players. They don't cater to people like Eggman that want a challenge, because they drive the new players away. Diablo 4 is a mainstream game. Dude, the game literally got Megan Fox. The game literally got a KFC and Megan Fox commercial. That's how mainstream Diablo 4 is. Like, dude, any other game would not have those. But anyway, that's it for the today video. I really don't got nothing else to say for real. I think it was a good video. Some points I agree with, some points I did disagree with, but most of the points I kind of agree with when it comes to like early game stuff, because I feel like Eggman is approaching Diablo 4 from not a late game perspective, but a mid game to early game perspective, because he never even made to the end game. End game starts at World Tier 3. He didn't even make it there because the game just didn't appeal to him. The game didn't appeal to him, and that's okay. Like, the game ain't supposed to appeal to everybody, and that man just ain't one of those players. And I don't think his opinion is invalid. I think Blizzard should take his opinion and try to make it better. Honestly, I think they take Eggman's opinions and actually improve upon that. They can bring a player like him back, because they're gonna enjoy the game more and they gonna want to get to end game. You gotta want the player gotta want to get to end game. If your player don't want to get to end game, they ain't gonna force themselves to get to end game. I love Diablo 4. I didn't have to force myself to get to end game. I wanted to get to end game. I want to get my character high. I want to get my character do high damage. You got to get your player to want to do that stuff. You can't make your players drag. You can't make your player want. You can't make your player. You can't force your player to want to do that stuff. You can't force them because they're just gonna quit. And if your early game, your mid game ain't good, then they're just gonna quit because they're gonna like, bro, I'm not having fun, so I'm just gonna quit. Cause if I ain't having fun, why would I wait till the end game to start having fun? It doesn't make no sense. So yeah, I think this was a well put together video. Give him a like, give him a subscribe, check out the video, and yeah. If you missed a play doctor with another one, see y'all next time. Peace.